When your dog follows you from room to room, do you actually know what they are trying to tell you? Most owners assume they know. Clingy tonight, wants attention, bored. But that explanation misses something that researchers have been documenting for years, something that fundamentally changes the way you understand the animal living in your home. Your dog is not reacting to your mood, and in most cases, they have been reading them for longer than you realize. There are 4 signs in particular that owners consistently misread or miss entirely. And once you understand what is actually behind each one, you will never look at your dog the same way again. Let me explain what is actually occurring. First, understand why we get this wrong. We have been taught to see dogs as relatively simple. Food, walk, sleep, repeat. So when a dog behaves unusually, we look for a simple explanation. But researchers have spent the last 2 decades studying what dogs actually perceive about the humans they live with. And the findings go far beyond what most people assume. Your dog's nose is between 10,000 and 100,000 times more sensitive than yours. When your stress hormones rise, your body chemistry shifts in your breath, in your sweat, in the air around you. You cannot detect it. Your family cannot detect it. But controlled studies have shown that dogs identified elevated cortisol samples correctly the overwhelming majority of the time, with no specific training in what to look for. Subscribe, which means your dog frequently knows something is wrong before you have consciously registered it yourself. That is not instinct in some vague, casual sense. That is a measurable biological fact. Sign 1. Your dog becomes your shadow. Not the normal kind of following. You know your dog's normal. This is different. This is the dog who used to sleep contentedly in another room now getting up every time you get up, standing outside the bathroom, choosing the cold tile floor of whatever room you happen to be in over the warm bed in the room you just left. Owners described the onset identically, but it did not start one day. It started the day something shifted in you, a worry you are carrying, a grief without a name, a stretch of nights where the sleep has not been restoring anything. Your body began producing a different chemical signature, and your dog, who has spent months or years memorizing your baseline, noticed the note that went flat. Research from Utrecht University found that fewer than half of owners correctly identify subtle behavioral changes as likely indicators of something worth paying attention to. Shadowing, specifically, is one of the behaviors owners most frequently misread as affection, rather than a response to a detected change. They are not being needy. They have made a decision, and that decision is that something they are responsible for needs watching. Sign 2. The long, unprompted stare. You look up. Your dog is already looking at you. Not at the door, not at the food bowl, just at you, steadily, without asking for anything. Most people find this slightly unnerving. That is exactly the wrong response. When a dog and a human hold mutual eye contact, both release oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that surges between a parent and a newborn in the first moments after birth. In both species, in both directions simultaneously. Scientists confirmed this in a 2015 study published in the journal Science, and it remains one of the most striking findings in animal cognition research. The loop can be started by either party. Usually it is the human. But when your dog initiates that gaze, unprompted, without wanting food or a walk or anything you can name, they are reaching for the loop deliberately. They are offering you something specific. And most of us, without realizing the significance of what is being extended, simply look away. Beyond the stare, look at sign 3, the wait, the lean. The dog who presses their entire body against your legs when you are standing still. The one who lies across your feet, or your lap, or your chest, heavier than seems necessary, and completely unbothered by whether the position is convenient for either of you. We call this cuddling. That word undersells it. Steady, broad pressure applied to the body activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for slowing your heart rate and lengthening your breathing. It is the same principle behind a weighted blanket, behind why we instinctively hold someone who is shaking. Your dog did not study this. Your dog discovered it through repetition, through watching what happened to your body when they pressed against it during hard moments, and learned that this specific behavior produces a measurable change in the person they are monitoring. And here is the part that most people never consider. Dogs do this selectively. They do not distribute their weight equally across every person in the house. They press against whoever they have assessed as needing it most. If your dog has been choosing you lately, that is not random comfort seeking. That is a targeted response to something they have detected. Sign 4 is the one almost nobody discusses. And unlike the first 3, this one is not about what your dog is doing for you. It is about what is happening inside them. Watch for your dog yawning when they are clearly not tired, licking their lips when there is no food nearby, sighing heavily and resettling, over and over, in the same hour. pacing at odd times, showing less interest in the toy they have carried everywhere for 3 years. We read these as boredom, or age, or simply a dog being a dog on a slow afternoon. They are stress signals. Researchers studying long-term cortisol levels in both dogs and their owners, using hair samples, which store months of biological history, found that the dog's stress levels mirrored their owners. Not the reverse. The dogs were tracking the humans, which means your dog is not only noticing your difficult months, your dog is carrying them alongside you. Every week, the anxiety ran high, their cortisol rose with it. Now here is what connects these 4 signs, and why understanding them together matters more than understanding any one of them individually. Shadowing, staring, the weight, the quiet stress they absorb on your behalf. These are not 4 separate behaviors. They are 4 expressions of the same thing. A dog communicating, in the only vocabulary available to them. I know. I noticed before you did. I am not going anywhere. Research has consistently demonstrated that the human-canine bond is not simply companionship. It is a biological system of mutual regulation, one that dogs participate in with a depth and attentiveness that most owners dramatically underestimate. Your dog is not a passive presence in your life. They are actively, continuously reading you, adjusting to you, and in their way, responding to what they find. That is not a small thing. That deserves to be seen clearly. And should this shift your perception of your dog in this moment, please subscribe. Each video here is grounded in what research reveals, not what we typically believe. So what do you do with this? Because understanding what your dog is telling you is only part of it. The other part is understanding the direction it points you. If your dog has been shadowing you, pressing against you, initiating eye contact, carrying stress that originated in you, then the most meaningful thing you can do for them is take seriously what they have been flagging. Not because you owe your dog a performance of wellness, but because they cannot fully rest until you do. That is not sentiment. Studies measuring physiological synchrony between bonded dogs and owners show that the dog's nervous system settles when the owner's does and remains elevated when the owner's does. Your dog's ability to relax is, in a measurable way, contingent on yours. There is one more thing worth saying before we finish. Your dog did not learn to do any of this. They were not trained to shadow you during a hard week, or to initiate eye contact when you are not quite yourself, or to press their weight against you at precisely the moment your nervous system needs slowing down. Over 15,000 years of living alongside humans, dogs evolved an entirely distinct set of social behaviors directed specifically at us. Behaviors no other animal developed, not wolves raised by humans. Not our closest primate relatives. Dogs evolved to read human faces, track human emotion, and respond to human stress in ways that are unique in the animal kingdom. What you are seeing when your dog does these 4 things is not a quirk. It is the full expression of what 15,000 years of evolution built them to do. Pay attention to which of the 4 signs your dog shows most often. The shadowing, the stare, the weight, the quiet stress signals. Because the sign they lead with will tell you something specific about what they have been noticing in you. A dog who shadows tells you they have detected a change in your chemistry and are staying close to monitor it. A dog who initiates eye contact is reaching for regulation, for both of you. A dog who applies their weight is responding to tension they can feel in your body. And a dog showing their own stress signals is a dog who has been absorbing yours for long enough that it is registering in their own system. None of these are emergencies, but none of them are nothing either. Your dog has been watching you carefully, patiently, with a consistency that most humans cannot match. They noticed before you did. They stayed close when you did not ask them to. They took some of what you were carrying and carried it without complaint, because that is what they do, and because in their understanding of the world, that is simply what you do for someone who is part of your group. The least we can do is learn to read them back. If this was worth 10 minutes of your evening, subscribe. It's free. It takes 1 second, and it means the next one finds you without you having to go looking. New video every week.